Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another replay cast. Today we are looking at the game in the VK45.03, the tier 7 German premium tank that I reviewed quite a bit, well, not too long ago, but anyways, I finally got it on my real account as well, so I needed to ace it, so I did, and this is how it happened. Oh shit, spoilers I guess, but hey, what the fuck do you expect, right? Anyways, since Wargaming decided to put the sandbox under NDA, I can't really do any footage on that, so a lot of my work went to shit. No, I'm just kidding, I didn't do anything because I'm a lazy prick, so I don't really care, but anyways, so what is this? Steps encountered, tier 7 game. Our team is really heavily committing to the cap circle, which in general is a pretty decent play. We have, what, 2 tanks that are gonna die because they don't know what a mini-map is. Then we'll have a light tank that's probably gonna die because he's playing a tier 5 light tank, and these campers are probably gonna die because that's a terrible position. So we are not in that great of a shape here, because splitting up like this will usually mean that a lot of people will just die for free, which is not really what you want to happen with your team at the start of the game. So in generally what you want to do if your team is heavily committing to one flank, you want to kill that flank as quickly as possible, and well, pretty much before the enemy team kills the other flank and gets around you, and then you'll have to fight 2 fronts, and that's obviously gonna be really bad for you. But it seems that first of all, the enemies have quite a bit of tanks on this side as well. The Oni is gonna be kind of a pain in the ass to deal with as it just has so much hit points, and frontally penning that with anything but the tier 8s and 9s is kind of tricky. What's worrying here though is that I got spotted. There's no way the Oni would have spotted me, so there has to be something else, and there is something else. Double chrome rolls at the back, those are really annoying because they can't penetrate this tank, and at this angle, at this range, it's going to be really hard for me to get rid of them. They can just keep poking me and shooting me, and that's a really bad thing for us. We could push on the bottom here and just try to go around, but with the Oni being there now, it's going to be also quite tricky to make that work. Even though our team is pretty heavily committed to the cap circle now, we could be able to actually make it happen, but at the same time these guys can kind of jump in here and deal with that reasonably quickly, you would imagine. We do pick up a light tank here, and now this is going to become a bit more tricky as the tanks they have. I mean, the KV-1S is stock, but that is the derp gun, so it still kind of hurts. You don't really want to get shot by that if all possible, and the T-150 is also kind of annoying for me to deal with, as it has enough armor for the most part to bounce my shots, and it's kind of awkward for me now. A bit dodgy here, but once again I bounce. And you can see how quickly the enemy team dealt with us, and this is pretty much we're surrounded in the cap circle, which is a terrible position to be in, and we need to go back and reinforce the back line with the KV-2, and hopefully we can hold it for more than like 3 seconds and actually come on top on that side. There is 4 tanks that we know of there already, so it's gonna be tricky, no doubt about it. What's important in situations like this though is to isolate a flank, isolate a certain number of players, and not fight the entire enemy team at once from the multiple angles. You want to fight 1 tank at a time, and you want to make sure that you can win that fight against that 1 tank as well. And that's what we're going to try to do. This T-43 is going to make that quite a bit harder. I should have tried to go for the tracking shot here, as that would have benefited us a lot. Might actually get it, but no, he repairs in time here, sadly for me. Could have played there better, but at least hopefully we made him rethink his actions. He may not peek that often now. The KV-2 is a kind of annoying tank to deal with for me, because he does do more damage than I do per shot, so it is kind of annoying. And the T-43 on my flank does not make this much easier. I need to be aggressive. In a situation like this, you can't just sit here and let them flank you, let them do what they want. You want to force your trades. You want to make sure that you shoot every time you reload, and make sure that you actually do damage every time you reload. That is the only way to win fights like this, and we're doing reasonably well so far. The T-43 is annoying, but we're doing reasonably well so far. Black Prince, shitload of health, but the best thing about tier 7 premiums is that tier 7 players are, in general, or on average, way worse than tier 8 and 9 players, so yeah. Pretty much why we win this game is because their Black Prince is really bad at this game, and because Black Prince is also a really bad tank compared to this, at least, for sure. you can see that penetrating the Black Prince's armor doesn't offer any challenge to a gun like this, and it's working reasonably well for me so far, and I should just go and pick him up now if I can. But I guess that last shot choke came on me, and I can hit him for the life of me now. Anyways, we should be able to pick him up. He's like absolutely terrible. I'm not sure why the fuck did he not just shit on my turret, because he easily could. The tank has enough penetration to just make this tank look silly. Now the Sturm Mill just fired, and he probably had the big gun. Yeah, that's definitely the big gun. So we should be able to out-reload him twice and just kill him, which is exactly what we're gonna do. And we actually successfully won this flank, which is kind of surprising looking at the numbers at the start of it. But now we can't really get back in time to help out those guys in the cap, and they are going to die, which they do. And this is a bit annoying. We bounce off a fucking Cromwell B, and that might be a really crucial bounce later on in the game. One of the Cromwells pick up the Skoda as well, and we're gonna have to shoot that guy for sure now. The enemy hit points are in really bad level for me. I mean, all of them are 2 shots, apart from the Japanese tank, that it could even be a 3 shot. So pretty bad amount of hit points for the enemies, apart from this guy, which we can pick up because he's very silly. And now, realistically, if those players we were playing against would be any good, there would be no real way to win this game, as the Cromwells could just change their angles all the time and just fuck us. But realistically, we know that the Oni is not very good, because he was just chilling in the open earlier, and these Cromwells, I mean, this is terrible, so they're probably not very good either, at least that Cromwell to my left. And now we kind of try to make him think that we're gonna peek, but we're obviously gonna shoot him first, because he's the one shot, and now the other guy is the only one that really offers me any difficulties. The problem with this fight, though, is that even though if the Oni is a terrible player, he can still one-shot me now, for sure. As if he shoots AP, it's not like this tank can bounce that on average. Like if you have like 150 pen, the turret actually is terrible on this. We do pick up the Cromwell, and we do get out the way of the Oni, and yeah, he's not very bright, is he? But then again, the thing about the tier 7s is that this is usually what you face. With X3M, this game would look really, really sad, to be real. I mean, our team probably wasn't very good either, looking at how they all died there, but the enemy team, the enemy Black Prince and the Oni were really bad players, and those were the only top tiers they had. But again, this is kind of tricky for me, as the Oni is just a really awkward tank for me to deal with the derp. He could easily one-shot me at this point, and that would be really, really sad way to end this game. But we just have to try to bait out a shot and then penetrate that fucking cow. If my Twitch chat would be on the screen, everybody would be screaming "Lord Gold," but that's not really the way I do things in this game, and it looked like that shot went through the cupola. I'm not even sure. We painted the cupola once, which was obviously lucky, and we're now just trying to bait the shot, and we do it successfully. So now, I mean, this guy isn't very good. I don't know what the fuck is this angling. I mean, in theory, I should be able to pen his machine gun ports in like the flattest angles, but I mean, this isn't really a problematic shot to take, and we can easily out-reload him, so that's the game. And here's the end plate. Ace Tanker, Bradley Walters, High Caliber, and Top Gun. 3060 experience earned, without a double, but with premium account, of course. 4,773 damage done, 0 assisted, 1,700 base experience, which netted us 93,000 profit, which in theory is not, well, in reality is not that good, as like you could do 3k damage in a tier 8, 3.5, and you make 100k. This tank, I mean, it doesn't make the greatest credits for how much it costs, because it does cost 28 euros, which is pretty much the same as most tier 8 mediums cost, so it doesn't really make that good of a credits. But then again, as I said, the benefit of being tier 7 is that there's so many bad players at tier 7, like we saw in that game. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed me slaughtering terrible players, and I'll see you on the next one.